Hello there, Jedediah here. I would love to speak to you about the love life of Jacob in the Bible. Yes. So it came to pass that Jacob took the birthright that was rightfully his because he didn't steal from Esau. Esau sold his birthright to Jacob for a pot of porridge or a pot of stew or say a pot of food, whatever you would call it. And it came to pass that Jacob was on the run and his mother advised him to go to her brother's place, Laban's place, and so Jacob ran to his uncle's place. And on getting to that territory, something very beautiful happened to him. Jacob beheld Rachel. He beheld a very beautiful woman, and it was love at first sight. I mean, from the description the Bible gave us, it was literally love at first sight. Jacob fell in love with Rachel instantly. And the Bible makes us know that Rachel was a very beautiful woman to behold. Yes, she was beautiful on the outside, but was she really beautiful on the inside? So it came to pass that, Jacob spoke with Laban. Oh, I love Rachel. I'm in love with Rachel. And I'm willing to work for you for 7 years, like 7 years, just to marry the woman of my life, the woman of my dreams, the woman I'm in love with. And then I begin to imagine, how do you throw away 7 whole years of your life just because you're in love with a woman? Oh, well, Jacob was willing to do it. And on the wedding night, that time they didn't have electricity like us, so everywhere was dark and all. And Laban packaged Leah and gave Jacob, and Jacob did his wedding runs. And in the morning, he woke up and it was what you ordered versus what you got. They weren't looking alike, and Jacob got pissed and he approached Laban. Why did you cheat me? Why didn't you give me the woman I asked for? Why did you give me someone else? And many people have actually said that the reason why Laban did that to Jacob was because Jacob stole from his brother. Jacob cheated Esau. That's not true. Jacob did not steal from Esau. Jacob and Esau had a very legal transaction. Jacob asked for Esau's birthright, and Esau was like, "What is my birthright? What will it do to me? I'm dying. Just give me food to eat." Esau did not esteem, the gift of God to him. Esau treated as profane what God had called sacred, and that was how he lost it. So Jacob going for it was not him stealing from Esau. It was Esau that was trying to cheat Jacob by actually taking the blessing, which is actually the birthright, after he had sold out to Jacob. So Jacob got what was rightfully his. So Laban cheated Jacob because he was a cheat, because he was a two-timer, not because Jacob stole anything from his brother Esau. Laban was a very crooked man, and when you read through the story in Genesis, you see how many times he changed Jacob's wages and all that. And Laban actually gave a reason that, in their territory, they don't give out, the younger daughters first before the older ones. So fast forward and all, Jacob now said, okay, I still want Rachel, I still love Rachel. Allow me serve 7 more years for her. And Laban was like, yes, I would rather give her to you than to a stranger. And Jacob threw away 14 whole years of his life just because he wanted to marry a woman. I wonder why he didn't negotiate for 1 year. I wonder why he didn't negotiate for 2 years, 7 whole years, and then it became 14. Like, seriously? Well, that's what love does to people. But that's not the focus of my story. It came to pass that after Jacob had sojourned in, his father-in-law's place, which was his uncle's place, and the God of his father appeared to him and told him, Jacob, it's time for you to go home. You need to leave this place and go home. And one of the reasons I believe that happened was because Jacob was a man of covenant. Jacob was carrying the blessing of the lineage, the Abrahamic blessing. And I want to believe that his location was very important to God. After Jacob heard from God, Jacob called his wives, Rachel and Leah, and told them that the God of my father appeared to me and told me to go back home. What do you think? And guess what? Both Leah and Rachel said that they don't have any inheritance with their father. Everything that Jacob has worked for, all the wealth that their father had, belongs to their children, that Jacob should do what God had told him. Now when you look at that, you want to say, oh wow, Rachel and Leah were very godly women. I mean, look at them giving their husband an amazing counsel of listening to God, right? Or was Rachel really a godly woman? Few verses later, immediately after that conversation, Rachel just told her husband that, my husband, listen to God, do what God has told you. And guess what Rachel did immediately after that? Rachel went and stole the idols of her father's house. She went and stole the household idols of her father Laban, and she hid them. After Rachel advised her husband to listen to the God of heaven, she went to secure her priesthood with the gods of her father's house. She went to secure her priesthood with the devil. Imagine, what does that tell you? In as much as Rachel gave her husband a godly counsel of, obeying the Lord, Rachel herself was not in tune with God. Rachel was not serving the God of her husband. Rachel was not worshiping the God of her husband. And Rachel did not believe in her husband's God. Do you now understand why certain things played out in time past? If you look at the scriptures, as at the time Jacob married Leah and Rachel, the Bible made us know that when God saw that Leah was unloved, God opened the womb of Leah, but Rachel was barren. If you look at that scripture properly, it says God opened the womb of Leah. It didn't say God shut Rachel's womb. So as it were, both of their wombs were locked. If both of their wombs were not locked, if they were not barren, why would God need to open one of their wombs? But scripture now said that because God saw that Leah was unloved, God opened her womb. So fine, if you don't have the love of your husband, have children for him. But do you think that was the only reason God opened her womb? Why didn't God open Rachel's womb? So was it Rachel's fault that Jacob did not love Leah? No. Jacob never wanted Leah in the first place. Leah was forced on him. So it's only normal and natural, that she will not be loved of her husband. And if anybody was to be punished, wasn't it Jacob? Was it Rachel? But when you look at that scripture, you feel, oh, God was partial. God wasn't partial. One of the reasons I believe God opened the womb of Leah and didn't open Rachel's womb as at that time, aside the fact that Leah was unloved, was because Rachel's heart was not with the God of Israel. Both Leah and Rachel married, and I believe that after Leah got married to Jacob, Leah accepted the God of her husband and got attuned with him in her heart. If not, she would have also tried to steal the gods of her father's house, just the way her sister Rachel did. But the Bible never told us, Leah did that. And being that Jacob was the carrier of the blessing, it was through Jacob that the Messiah would come through. So I believe God was very, very particular about the choices of the men and women involved. So we see that Leah wasn't perfect. She wasn't an Israelite, as it were. Neither was Rachel. But Leah's heart left the gods of her father's house after she married her husband. But Rachel didn't. And I want to believe that that's one of the reasons why Judah actually came from Leah and not Rachel. So God wasn't partial. God did not hate Rachel. But God saw beyond what Jacob did not see. Now remember that Jacob was a prophet. He had amazing activities of angels in his life. Angels visited him several times. He saw a portal connecting heaven to earth, and he saw the Lord on the portal. That was where he made his first covenant with the God of his father. He had angelic visitations. When his father-in-law cheated him several times, he received angelic instructions on how to make wealth and all. Jacob was a prophet. As at the time Jacob had come to the end of his years, what did he do? The Bible makes us know that he blessed Pharaoh. For a man to bless the king of the whole world, then you understand that he's not just any man. And the Bible makes us know that Jacob called his sons. He called his 12 sons together, and he told each and every one of them their prophetic destinies. So Jacob was a prophet in his own class, but many people don't realize it because of the happenings, situations, and circumstances that surrounded his life. But Jacob was a prophet in his own class, but his discernment was blinded to the idolatry of his wife. Never for once did he see in a dream or in a vision that his wife was worshipping other gods. Jacob's prophetic eye and discernment was blinded to the spiritual disalignment of his wife. He couldn't see that his wife's heart was still with the gods of her father. He didn't even see that his wife was the one that stole the gods. Remember, after they left, what happened? The Bible makes us know that Laban chased after, Jacob, Rachel, and Leah. And by the time they got there, Laban accused Jacob of stealing his gods. And Jacob was like, I didn't steal your gods. In fact, search our things. If you find the gods among any of us, let the person with whom you find your gods, your household gods, be killed, be put to death. Jacob literally put a death sentence on the thief because he did not know that it was his beloved Rachel. Jacob was a prophet, but his prophetic eye did not pick it. His prophetic eye did not pick the fact that his wife was a thief. His prophetic eye did not pick the fact that his wife was still heavily involved in idolatry. So what does that tell the prophetic folks amongst us? Selah, I leave you to meditate. Could it be that your prophetic insight can actually be blinded with emotions? I leave you to answer that question. So let's go on with our story. So Jacob actually placed a death sentence on the person that was responsible for, that theft. And Rachel sat down on it and told her father that, Daddy, sorry, I can't stand up because I'm seeing my period. But after that encounter and all that, while they still journeyed, that death sentence that was released by the mouth of the prophet Jacob still took on flesh, and that was why Rachel died when she gave birth to Benjamin. It wasn't because God wanted to punish Jacob. Jacob actually killed his wife unknowingly. Jacob actually killed the woman he ever truly loved unknowingly. Why? He didn't know she was a thief. He didn't know she was an idolater. What does that tell you? It is very dangerous and very risky to marry a man or woman that does not love your God, that does not believe in your God, that does not serve your God, and that does not belong to your God. Jacob was in love with Rachel, but he never considered the spiritual situation of the woman he was in love with. And he was a prophet. He had many encounters with God. But guess what? He never prayed about it. If he had prayed about it, I believe the angel of the Lord would have revealed it to him. Just the way the angel of the Lord revealed several other things to Jacob during his lifetime. But he never prayed about it. He just saw her and said, oh, after all, she's my sister. In those days, Abraham married Sarah. Sarah was his sister. And Abraham made Eliezer his servant make a vow that you would not give my son a wife from among the strange people. You will go back home. So in that time and day, it was permitted for the people of God, that's the Israelites, to actually marry their kinsmen. So Jacob just saw and said, oh, she's my kinsman, she's Rachel. I met her, in my uncle's house. She's actually the daughter of my uncle, who could be more right for me than somebody that is from that is my own flesh and blood, somebody that is connected to me, who could be more right for me. And he just made that risky decision. He never even consulted the God of his father. Remember, he met and encountered the God of his father on his way to Laban's house. So there was a relationship because he made a vow to God in that place. And after that, he began to have several other angelic encounters. But Jacob wasted his life. He threw away 14 years of his life investing in a love that was not worth it, investing in a woman that was idolatrous, investing in a woman that did not believe in his God. And in the end, he was responsible for the death of that woman. So I bring you the word of the Lord today. Yes, it's Valentine's season, it's love season. Of course, as a Christian, I shouldn't be encouraging or instructing you not to commit fornication or commit idolatry in a season like this. You should already know that, and that should be ingrained in your memory if you're a true follower of Christ. But beyond the celebration of love in this season, I'm putting out this question to you. Are you making a decision the way Abraham made for Isaac? I mean, when Eliezer got to the location where his master Abraham sent him, he prayed. He prayed, and it was like, oh God of my master, if this woman is your will for my master Isaac, let this and this and that and that and that and that happen. And it happened exactly as he prayed. Why? His master Abraham, who was a covenant man, told him, the angel of God will go with you and he will direct your steps. So the spouse of Isaac was not just chosen randomly. Why? Abraham understood that he had a covenant with God. Abraham understood that there was a promise of salvation. There was a promise of the Messiah coming forth from his lineage. So he didn't want to dabble with the woman Isaac will marry, because he understood that there was a prophetic call upon his lineage. The Lord had told him that it is through your seed, which is Christ, that all the families of the earth will be blessed. So Abraham took the choice of Isaac's wife very seriously. But guess what? Jacob neglected it. Jacob neglected it, and see how it ended. Now you might want to think that, oh, but Rachel was not a covenant woman, neither was Leah a covenant woman, and there were several other women that were not covenant women that God used in scripture. Yes, Rahab was a prostitute. She had her faults, but she honored and believed in the power of the God of Israel. Yes, Ruth was not an Israelite, but what did she do? She put her faith in the God of Israel. Do you understand? So I'm putting it to you today. Please don't take the example of Jacob. They were both covenant men. They were both covenant men. Jacob was the son of Isaac. They were both covenant men. But one followed the leading of the spirit in picking a spouse, and the other followed the leading of his flesh in picking a spouse. I hope you follow the leading of the spirit in picking a spouse. Don't make the mistake of Jacob. God bless you.